My name is Tim Paulson. I'm the Executive Director of the San Francisco Labor Council. I happen to also be the Labor Chair of the Democratic Party, and I'm joined by my colleagues from the Republican Party, the Green Party, and the Peace and Freedom Party today, and we are united in our opposition to Proposition 14. I think all of us, at least on behalf of labor, I would like to say, who has come out directly against Proposition 14, that we believe in choice. This is a country where people do join political parties, and they want to have their representatives in the political parties represented when it's time to move forward in elections. And therefore, we believe that this totally takes away choice, and frankly, will end up making sure that elections are even more muddled than sometimes they even are right now. We believe in choice. We believe in making sure that we have fair representation in the election. So I just want to be on record as saying that that is, the principal reason why we're against Proposition 14.
County Chair of Peace and Freedom Party and a delegate to the San Francisco Labor Council. The official title of this measure in the California Voters Guide is Elections, Increases Right to Participate in Primary Elections. This was written by the staff of the Attorney General, and it's highly inaccurate, in my opinion. The reality is that the overwhelming majority of voters, Prop 14 will decrease our right to participate in primary elections. It interferes with democracy, and it doesn't end just with Republicans and Democrats. It eliminates write-in candidates outright, and because the election laws in California require third-party candidates to get at least 2% in the general election in order to stay on the ballot, it virtually eliminates them. The likelihood that a Green, Peace and Freedom Party, Libertarian, or American Independent candidate will be one of the top two in the June primary under this measure is very small, because even if a third-party candidate got, say, 20% in a five-way race, they would not be on the ballot for the general election. So this kind of gives a new low to the idea of choosing the lesser evil. It sinks to a whole new level.
I'm Howard Epstein, chairman of the San Francisco Republican Party, and we are here to talk against Proposition 14. If Proposition 14 passes, there will be less democracy in the state of California on many levels. First of all, it's being called an open primary, which is total falsehood. It's a top two primary. What that means in certain parts of the state, like San Francisco, the November election will be between two Democrats only. In other parts of the state, Orange County, it'll be between two Republicans in November. It'll be much more expensive to run races because in the primary right now, the parties are generally reaching out to their own party members. In the top two, you'll have to reach out to everybody, which will be a great expense. Then in November, you'll have to do it again. So it's going to raise the cost of campaigning a lot. The other thing is it will cut off the political debate we're accustomed to. In the primaries, the candidates from the various parties talk among themselves, but in November you have all the various parties, all 6 parties of California, debating each other, giving various points of view. You won't get that in the top two. If you have two Democrats, there's going to be very little difference between them, actual differences. So what you're going to get is negative campaigning because there's no philosophical differences to talk about. So I would urge everybody to vote no on Proposition 14.
My name is Laura Wells, and I'm running as a Green Party candidate for governor. I'm in a contested race in the primary, but I expect and hope to win in November. And we will bring, just as Howard was saying, we will bring as one of the multiple parties, including the independent parties, like the Greens and the Libertarian, Peace and Freedom, and American Independent Party. We bring issues and put them on the table. If this were Washington, single-payer health care would have been on the table. In this state, we'll keep those things moving forward. People want to vote for something, for a candidate, for something good to happen. And what Prop 14 would do is deny that right. It would it would exacerbate, it would increase the voting against that is almost always what people are voting for at this point. People like multiple parties beyond just two. Poll after poll, when asked if there should be more than just two parties in the debates, people come out with 2/3 of the polls indicate that yes, they want the multiple parties. And this Proposition 14 is sort of masquerading as being able to vote for the multiple parties, but it's not. It's the incumbents and the highly funded candidates are the ones that would be able to reach out to the voters that come to the primary, and the other people, and they would have the name recognition. They're the ones that would be there. So Prop 14, it's sort of like the Chamber of Commerce of the major corporations pretending to be indie rock or the rugged individualist, when it's the exact opposite. It's the incumbents and the highly funded ones that would end up in there. So I'm hoping that we get the word out and that people understand that no on Prop 14 is what will help move democracy in a positive direction.
My name's Christina Tobin. I'm the chair of StopTop2.org, no on Proposition 14, the founder of Free and Equal, and also the Libertarian candidate for Secretary of State. And I couldn't, what everybody says is very true. What you really need to look at is where the actual Proposition 14 derived from. It was a backroom budget deal between Maldonado and Schwarzenegger last February. No legislative hearings. The people weren't involved. And in any case, Maldonado got his Prop 14 on the ballot, and in return, Schwarzenegger got his vote for Maldonado to get his tax hike pushed through. But in any case, what does it do? It doesn't even count write-in votes for the general election. As a member of the Peace and Freedom Party said, if it were to pass, the Peace and Freedom Party and Libertarian Party would no longer be qualified parties here in California. It also doesn't let candidates who want a label to have one, so this measure means that candidates aren't treated equally. On top of that, it sterilizes political cleansing. If you look at Top 2, for example, in Washington State, they passed it in 2008. For the first time since Washington's been a state since the late 1800s, no third parties or independents advanced to the general election. In 2004, there were 45 minor candidates that filed to run for office. 2008, when they implemented Top 2, only 12. Essentially, it is Louisiana-style politics. They've had it for almost 30 years. Again, no incumbents knocked out of office in 30 years. No third parties, independents advanced to general election. When they dropped in 2008, there were 5 incumbents knocked out of office. The evidence, the people would argue, the proponents for Prop 14, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Maldonado, the people funding it, health insurance companies, California Chamber of Commerce, and so on, would argue this will help the moderate movement. They are lying. According to the 3 political scientists nationwide, Boris Shore from University of Chicago, Seth Maskett out in Colorado, and Eric McGee of Public Policy Institute of California, they studied polarization, partisanship in the state legislature, and they all simultaneously agree that it would have little to no effect on moderate candidates, and it would even furthermore protect incumbents. So ending on that note, what Proposition 14 would do, the people who have funded it, the Maldonado, Schwarzenegger backroom budget deal, the money coming in, millions of dollars from the corporations, health insurance, these are going to be the people that are going to be putting money into the 2 candidates. Essentially, the 2 candidates with the most wealth will be the candidates advancing from the primary to the general election. Who will be paying for that? The people who are paying and funding Arnold Schwarzenegger's committee war chest. So thank you very much. If you have more information, you can go to StopTop2.org. Thanks.
My name is Gloria La Riva. I'm running for Congress in the 8th Congressional District. One of my opponents is Nancy Pelosi. As Peace and Freedom Party candidate, I'm running on a ticket of no war in Afghanistan and Iraq, and also demanding that the money be used instead for jobs, housing, healthcare, and education. I think that the Proposition 14 is extremely dangerous to the rights of the people of California to have access to the ballot, to have access to candidates such as ourselves who are third-party candidates. It's being touted, as many of these reactionary propositions, as something progressive, of opening up the political process, but in fact it's the opposite. Being sponsored and supported by the Chamber of Commerce, and especially Governor Schwarzenegger, shows the real character of it. What it's meant to do is to wipe out the third-party ballot access in California, which already is so onerous for any party to get on the ballot. It requires close to 300,000 signatures and validated signatures for a party to get on the ballot. Peace and Freedom Party, like the Green Party and others, rely on being able to get enough votes in the general election for a statewide office in order to remain on the ballot. Because of the power of the Democrats and Republicans to have full media coverage and everybody else treated as less than. So Proposition 14 is very dangerous, and we urge a no vote to it. It's important that people turn out in June to vote against Prop 14.